Welcome to the Wild Grace podcast, where authenticity isn't a choice, it is your calling. Real, raw, untamed. This is your initiation into the wild. Hello, and welcome to the Wild Grace podcast. I'm your host, Mallika Foord, and today I'm talking about how funny it is that acid and watching the stars can result in such profound insights. Yep, that's right. On the weekend, I went camping, and it was the Planet Parade, which happened like 100 years ago, and so it means that all of the planets in our galaxy are in alignment, which is pretty cool. Like when I was actually thinking about it, it's like we are all in a line right now. All of the planets, from the sun all the way to Pluto. You could see 5 with the naked eye, and I was out camping up near Sunny Coast next to a creek, and we were in the wilderness. I haven't been camping in quite a long time, and so when I saw 2 snakes in one afternoon, a possum, a goanna, loads of butterflies and dragonflies, heaps of spiders, and yeah, what else did we see? It was just like the biggest python. The kids found a green tree snake within like the first hour of being there. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I'm in nature, and it made me realize how long it's been since I've actually fully immersed myself in nature. Living on the Gold Coast, I'm in nature, but I'm not in nature. There's koalas in my backyard sometimes. However, it's just so different when you're away without any reception and you've got like nothing to do, nowhere to go, and you're just in a tent. So my weekend was full of beautiful surprises. I noticed that I was extremely bored the first day, and it made me just question, why am I bored in nature? So the next day, I finally pushed through the boredom and went into bliss. And one of my practitioners, and he's an acupuncturist of 40 years, he always tells me that neutrality or boredom is the stepping stone to living a completely blissful life. And I realized I had some connotation around bliss being boring. And yeah, it made me really question my need for drama and chaos. And why would I not want to be living a life of bliss? So that was a beautiful insight. And so here I am on the weekend in the wilderness. There is animals everywhere. And on the Saturday night is the Planet Parade, and it's cloudy. We put the kids to bed, and all of us decide to drop some acid, just a half a tab, and yeah, watch the stars essentially. And I guess I wasn't expecting what happened. We had wonderful laughs. It was cloudy, and so I've done a lot of weather manipulation in the past. I was actually taught weather manipulation by a warlock in Perth, but that's another story. This particular evening, I was with my sister, who is also well versed in a little bit of weather manipulation, and my friend Holly, who is new to parting the clouds. And so we did some fun dancing and giggling, and we spoke to the clouds in a commanding voice, because clouds are really cheeky. Like, they don't always do what you say. I mean, they do eventually, though sometimes the real stubborn ones will just stay around. And then you've got the cheeky ones who take a little bit longer than you anticipate. And so all 3 of us are doing this sky clearing spell, essentially. And earlier that day, my sister and I had built this beautiful nature mandala. So we put the spell into that as well. And no joke, within 25 minutes, the sky was so clear, like crystal clear. And it was crystal clear all night after that. So after we cleared the sky, we put our mats out in front of the campfire, and we just looked at the stars. And I know some of you probably are listening to this thinking, I look at the stars all the time. However, how many of you actually take your rug out into the garden and look up at the stars with nothing else to do but the campfire and the stars for hours? And I mean, for hours. We were there for probably about 4 hours. And yes, we're on acid. And then a joint came around and a little bit of ketamine. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, what a mix. You're a party girl. And I just would like to say, I just know what I like. There was no alcohol involved. It's like choose your poison. What that concoction allowed me was to look up the stars and start communicating with the star that I was looking at. And I was just looking at it and I started to envisage that every single star was actually the light of a soul on earth. And yes, we've heard this all before. However, this particular star that I was staring at was talking to me. And I was like, what the fuck? This star is talking to me. I was having full conversation with the star. And what it asked me was really fucking profound. It asked me, in life, do I do things for me or am I doing things for others? And what she was meaning by this is like, when I am stepping into my passion, my purpose, like who am I doing it for? Am I doing it for me or am I doing it for humanity? Am I doing it for my friends, my family? And I reflected that in some cases, some things that I do, my ulterior motive is yes, do it for me. However, my ego is like, and I'm doing it for humanity, the greater good of humanity. And I realized that that is so ego driven. And actually, if you are living your soul's highest purpose, highest passion, highest timeline, then you only take action from the desire of your soul, not your ego. You're not here to please anyone else. You are here to please your soul. You are here to please and be in joy and in alignment with what your soul's purpose is. And I know a lot of you might think that having a soul's purpose is, I don't know, I guess like so cliche. And it is. I totally agree that it is cliche. However, there is a certain element of it that I believe to be true. And this is the fact that we are all here to have a human experience. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad or ugly, that is how you define your life. The fact is that we are here to be in a human being form. And so this star is talking to me and saying to me, do you do life for you? And so I just thought back to all the things that I am doing, things that aren't always for me. And so as I shifted my perspective on all the things that I'm doing and created my soul as the leading inspiration for all of my action, I envisaged myself with so much more empowerment and ambition and drive because we are our own God and we are here to serve ourselves essentially. Like everything is a projection of us. And I said to my sister, I think I'm taking being selfish to the next level. And Abraham Hicks talks about this all the time as well. She's like, be selfish. And we've been taught that selfishness is actually bad and that we should choose others and be considerate of others to the point of our demise, really. And so many people are walking around as people pleasers, incapable of saying no or not even realizing that saying no is even an option. And so they live their life wondering why they aren't happy. And it may just be because they are not living their true authentic self. And it always comes back to true authentic self. Your true authentic self is your soul self. That is the one that should be driving the show. And so as I stepped into this empowered version of myself that was just unfuckable with, to be honest, I just noted my whole energy shift. And then the star said to me, it said, would you die for you? Would you die for you? And that scared me. It scared me because when I think about dying or when I've had close near-death experiences, like through DMT and stuff, I'm given the option to leave every single time. And what runs through my head is my family, my daughter, my parents, my lovers, my friends. I can't leave them yet, I think. I'm not ready. And the biggest questions that runs through my mind is that A, will I ever be ready? And B, what is behind this invitation that I keep getting? What's behind it? It's like, am I going to die if I say, yes, okay, let's go? Or am I just going to wake up in exactly the same body, in pretty much exactly the same timeline, but I feel slightly different? And that's something that I'm still discovering. So when this star asked me, would you die for you? I just don't know how to answer that. If you knew that if you died for yourself, that you would experience the ultimate version of living, would you do it? There's just so much uncertainty around it that I just, yeah, it's still a big fear for me actually. And then also, you have your deaths and rebirths every night, if you like, every cycle, every process. Every time we go through something huge, a part of ourselves dies. So would I die for me? Well, yeah, if it's something like that, like a death and rebirth, of course I'm going to die. And I think because I've lived so many deaths and rebirths, there's no fear around it now. And there's still a fear of actually dying, which is funny because if you believe that you're an immortal being and you are the star and you are the soul in the star and you're the infinite life, you don't die. Yet still for me, letting go of this meat suit feels a little bit scary. And yeah, I'm sure it will just continue to haunt my mind. The other thing that was very interesting that happened the night that I took acid instead of the stars was that evening I went to bed and I lay there and I had this wave of pleasure rush over my body and my yoni started speaking to me. And so I've just made a decision that I will do things for me and my soul. I'll do things for my soul and not my ego. I'm not here to serve humanity. I'm here to serve my soul. And so as I'm in this empowered place, this sudden urge of pleasure washes over me and my yoni just starts guiding me. And she keeps saying to me, she's like, listen to me. Listen to me. Keep listening to me. And I noticed that I wanted to go into my mind and kind of go into a routine self-pleasure practice. But instead, my pussy, she was just like, keep listening, keep listening. And she guided my hands into my yoni. And she told me that that was my control stick or control center. And she was saying to press here and there. And without even moving my fingers much, I was just pressing on certain points around my yoni. I was getting so turned on, so incredibly turned on. And I realized that I hadn't made love to myself like that in a really long time. And it was so healing and so pleasurable. And oh my gosh, I had the most mind blowing orgasm. And I thought, fuck, have I been fucking being in pleasure for myself or for others? And so that was a really huge thing for me to embody and integrate, is that even in my lovemaking, there's a certain element that I am in performance, and I'm not slowing down and truly listening to my body and my yoni and how it wants to be fucked. That was beautiful. And then later that evening, couldn't sleep much. I was visited by two beings, and each time it woke me up from my lucid dreaming, and it was a tunnel of rainbow, and it came into my tent and flashed through my body and my aura, and then was off. And then another one, different color though. And so I'm not recommending that you take hallucinogenics and go look at the stars for hours. What I am saying is that you definitely want to go look at the stars for hours. And in my experience, hallucinogenics has really opened a doorway to deeper insight into really understanding our human existence and the cosmos that we live in. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe. And if you're ready to deepen your connection with the wild, the raw, and the untamed, explore the power of Blue Lotus with Blue Lotus Effect, awakening the mind, body, and spirit. Until next time, stay wild.